Veganism is just extreme. It's narrow-minded, it's judgmental,
What's
it's
extreme?
self-satisfied.
Look, if you and I were in a field drinking beetroot juice and somebody walked in and started sucking on the breasts of a cow, who's the maniac? It isn't just the human animal that has an interest in his life. It isn't just the human animal who feels a deep connection to his mother. It isn't just the human animal who would rather be loved than be alone, rather be free than be enslaved, rather live than be killed.
Hey everyone, this is Klaus from Plant-Based News. So today we're going to be looking at the most startling vegan TV clips. If you're not familiar, vegans are traditionally portrayed as weak and fringe on TV.
I've been a vegan for more than 14 years, and I can honestly say I've never felt fitter or more relaxed.
But more recently, the image of vegans has changed. For example, the release of Carnage a couple of years ago, which was commissioned and broadcast on the BBC.
Okay, beef requires 28 times more land than pork or chicken to produce. It is the single biggest driver of global deforestation. Compared to vegetables alone, it requires 160 times more land and produces 11 times more greenhouse gases. It's time to stop the production of beef.
Anyway, we haven't even gotten to the video properly yet. Hope you enjoy our top TV moments. First up is comedian Nathan Ranganathan, broadcast on BBC Two in the UK.
I am a vegan is something that people watching this, as soon as they hear me say that, will go, oh, I knew he was going to say it. How do you know a vegan's a vegan? Because they'll tell you. People hate vegans. And the reason they hate vegans is because they think we're humourless. They think that we think we're better than non-vegans. They think that we're always banging on about it. And all of those things are true. I am better than you if you're not vegan. In terms of my ethical decisions, I'm so much better than you. I'm better for the planet, I'm better for the animals. There's nothing worse about me, apart from I'm slightly irritating to have around for dinner.
At number 11 is a debate between vegan advocate Athling Ed and a butcher discussing the environmental impacts of raising animals for food.
Quick response. Created a documentary called Land of Hope and Glory online, which talks all about what happens to animals in the UK. But let me respond, please. Okay. So there's two studies. The first study was a 5-year study conducted by the University of Oxford. It's the most comprehensive study that's ever been conducted exploring the relationship between the environment. Was this the one that was run by a vegan? But he wasn't vegan when he started, but he was vegan when he finished it because of what he found out. And what he discovered...
You may be after this conversation, John, as well. Not very likely.
But it wasn't the first time that Ed was put up against representatives of the meat and dairy industry.
And if you think of methane coming from ruminants, from animals, it's just part of a natural gaseous cycle that this planet has learnt to adapt with, has adapted to cope with over thousands and thousands of years. And if
Are we coping with it?
No, absolutely not. I mean, if we look at what the United Nations is telling us, we look at what some of the most prestigious and respected bodies are telling us, the Lancet, we're looking at the University of Oxford, we're looking at Harvard, we're looking at the Nature Journal, the Science Journal, all of these studies and all these institutions are saying very clearly that actually animal agriculture is the leading driver of so many environmental problems that we're facing, and it's bigger than just methane emissions.
If the farmer says he loves his sheep, are grown, do you?
I absolutely do love my sheep.
He goes on, you can't deliberately breed baby animals specifically to die in a state of terror and say you love them. Hang on, let me finish. People naturally eat meat, but just be honest about where it comes from, pain and terror. How do you respond to that?
Absolutely not. I would argue that sheep are almost in this world when we're trying to find sustainability, sheep are almost the ultimate in renewable technology.
Let's move on to number 10, which is between Joey Carbstrong and TV host Philip Schofield, where things got a little bit heated over the terminology Joey was using to describe the process of slaughter and insemination.
I think that the use of these words, whilst...
So you're playing word games. Let's talk about the act. Let's talk about the act. You're taking an animal's life against their will.
What is that?
Is that moral?
Animals kill animals, though.
Yeah, but so how does that... Animals rape each other in the wild too. We cannot point to nature and say that that's moral, okay? We're a civilised society. To take someone's life against their will is savagery.
Actually, I think...
Would you agree? Do you think it's humane?
It's not my point. I'm just...
We've grown canine teeth.
Where?
Canine
Show me
teeth.
yours.
Well,
they look very flat and blunt like a cow's
that's
teeth.
the molars at the back, but the canines were developed to chew meat.
It's unnecessary to eat meat to be healthy.
I developed teeth to do that. So why have I developed teeth to do that?
Just because you can eat an animal doesn't make it moral to do so, okay?
But it wasn't just Philip Schofield who was putting up a defence for eating animals. In 2018, Joey went up against a more notorious breakfast TV presenter.
A lot of people might be tempted to take up a more vegan-based diet.
Yeah.
But they hate this kind of vegan terrorism that's going on.
Take the
where
vegans
milk
out of the
is-
picture.
Milk is murder.
Take the vegans out of the
Stupid
picture.
thing to say.
It's about the animals. Are you against animal cruelty?
I'm against animal cruelty.
Of course, it's not cruel to bulk.
I'm against human cruelty.
Me too. I don't kill humans either. But to kill animals for a product we don't need is cruel.
Although Pierce started by making comments about dairy, the topic at hand, it wasn't long until we resorted to using ad hominem attacks.
So in September 2011, you were arrested when police found a loaded, sawn-off pump-action rifle.
Character attack.
No,
Has this got anything to do with the topic at hand?
Well, you were, okay.
It's a character attack.
It's called a
on
fact.
my part.
It's called a fact.
Okay.
Were you found with a pump-action rifle down your trousers?
Would this be relevant if I was speaking up against dog abuse or child abuse?
I'm asking, I realise that veganism, it's not my thing, but I realise it's a growing thing.
It is, yes. It's not your thing?
My problem is this kind of vegan
definitely not Pierce's
terrorism that goes on.
He's against animal
where
cruelty, so it is
everyone
his
that
thing.
drinks milk, according to you, is a murderer.
No, not consciously. They don't know. But now you know what happens to animals in slaughterhouses so you can have milk in your coffee. And what are you going to do
A lot
about
of
it?
cows that get milk don't go to slaughterhouses.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
You don't know nothing about the industry, my friend.
At number 9, drum roll, Preacher Lawson.
A little about myself, I'm a vegan. Yes, I'm a vegan, which means I don't. Yeah, all right, thank you, 3 vegans. All right, I appreciate it. So a vegan, we don't eat animals, we don't eat meat or whatever, and the reason I decided to be a vegan is because I had a dog and I fell in love with my dog, and I was like, I can't eat my dog, you know, I can't. But we eat pigs, and guess what? Pigs are smarter than dogs. Pigs are smarter than chimpanzees, they're just ugly. And you can't eat something just because it's ugly, because if that's the case, some of y'all looking tasty tonight, all right? I'm being real.
At number 8, we have an advert published by Tesco in 2019 where they're showcasing their new range of meat-free sausages.
So, Chloe walks in from school.
Daddy,
She says,
I don't want to eat animals anymore.
I blooming love my meat, but not as much as I love my little girl. That's why we've made some changes to our old favourite, sausage casserole a la Carl. Now with meat-free Cumberlands, but still with my magic touch, cumin, coriander, and a dollop of mango chutney. Just as tasty as it used to be.
Better, actually.
Food Love Stories, brought to you by Tesco.
This advert really highlighted the normalisation of plant-based products in society, but it wasn't long until pushback came from the meat and dairy industry, who were so frustrated they actually went on mainstream TV.
I just think that the wording in the advert was totally unnecessary. I mean, why not just have a little girl saying, I'm not really keen on eating meat anymore? It's quite a direct attack on my industry, and I do take offence to it.
But that appearance only helped promote the new meat-free products. I guess the saying is any publicity is good publicity, right? Anyway, we're on number 7, which goes to another TV ad, which was broadcast on one of the most popular TV shows in Israel, reaching a massive 35% of the population.
יפה, מאמי. בולה עוגת תפוחים שלי.
מצאתי. בשר טלה?
מאמי, אני רוצה טרי טרי. וואי, טרי פה.
כן, זה נראה לי טוב. חבר, יש לך בשר טלה טרי טרי?
אבל שיהיה טרי טרי.
טלה, טרי טרי! טרי טרי בדרך.
יואו, נהייתי רעבה.
טרי טרי! מה זה? טרי טרי? לחלק או לארוז?
The advert was hugely successful and followed a few years after. Vegan advocate Bauer won Big Brother in Israel in 2014 and also used it as an opportunity to promote animal rights in the country.
He convinced everybody on the show to go vegan.
Not just everybody in the house, but 500,000 people in Israel changed their diet because of the Big Brother show.
Now for number 6, we have to tune into American cable TV and the Dr. Oz show, which featured Kip Anderson, the co-director of What the Health, and plant-based Dr. Garth Davis, which quickly turned into a shouting match.
And I will
This
say
is unbelievable because this is the most unscientific discussion I've ever had in my life.
Why don't we get,
I mean, this
why
is.
don't we get some
Am I on the doctors or am I on some kind of show? Seriously,
to our
guys,
producers.
stop for 1 second. That is not science. That's a lie, Travis. And what you are doing is lying to this public, and that's why I got to treat them after
No,
they get sick.
I read everything on it, and then I read your quotes, and I disagree with you.
Our number 5 epic vegan TV moment racked up a massive 7 million views. After taking a vow of silence for a year, vegan advocate and personal trainer James Aspie broke that silence live on Australian Sunrise, and the clip went viral.
What a pleasure to have you here, James.
Can we have a drum roll? What your first words are going to be?
Oh, okay.
All right.
James, I can assume that this was a kind of Vipassana. Why did you do this?
Thank you for asking.
Oh, lovely to have you back.
How does it feel?
Great to be able to talk. Ooh, sounds different.
Yeah?
Mm.
Can you feel, is it difficult to exercise those muscles after so long?
I'll tell you soon.
Yeah, great.
Okay, the reason I took the vow of silence was to raise awareness for the voiceless victims of this planet.
The animals?
The animals. We all say we love animals and we all are against animal cruelty, but we pay people to mutilate, torture and slaughter animals. And it's not for any necessity, it's not because we need to for our health, it's just because we like the way they taste.
Our number 4 pick is from vegan chef Daphne Chang. After refusing to cook meat, the judges decided that her time on the show was up. It's a shame she didn't even get a chance to show the nation how delicious plant-based food can be.
There's a mystery box of ingredients, just like in, the other food competition shows. And so our box was empty. Nicholas had asked that we reverse roles. So they asked the meat chef to cook vegan, and they asked me to cook meat.
一个可以煮素，我没问题。一个做荤的。
不可能，不可能，不可能。And that's me saying impossible. And they made it sound like I said it 3 times in a row, but actually they cut it because they kept asking me. And then they cut it into 3 times.
I haven't had meat in 16 years, and I'm not going to change that just, for a competition.
Nicholas is asking me if I'm refusing to cook meat, then that means that I'm going to withdraw from the competition, right?
那再见，不好意思。
谢谢你。
谢谢。
谢谢你。
他很希望。
So I was completely shocked when they turned back and said, sorry, goodbye. Basically in a very curt, very abrupt way.
But unfortunately, they said that, I have to cook meat or I'll be disqualified, and unfortunately I can't do that. So I had to walk away.
Anyway, on to number 3, which is when Oprah Winfrey took on the beef industry and won. After having Howard Lyman on a show in 1996 discussing food safety concerns around mad cow disease, Oprah made a very bold statement. She declared the conversation of Howard Lyman had, quote unquote, stopped me cold from eating another burger. And little did she know the impact that one sentence would have. She was sued by the cattle industry after their stock plummeted, supposedly because of her comments. But after a lengthy trial in Texas, where she even relocated a show briefly, she was acquitted of all charges in court.
My reaction is that free speech not only lives, it rocks.
Our number 2 spot goes to vegan advocate Gene Bauer after his calm dismantling of Tucker Carlson on the notoriously hard network Fox News.
So you've got your views about what we ought to be eating. I do too. I love burrata. But I'm not trying to force anybody else to eat burrata. It seems to be taking kind of a large step to assume you have the right to tell other people what to eat. Why are you doing that?
Well, I'm actually not telling other people what they must or must not eat. I just want people to think more about their food choices and recognize the consequences of those, and also to recognize that not eating animals is actually an option we have. We grow up believing we need meat for protein, but in fact we can live well without it. So it's a choice we each need to make, but we should make informed choices.
I don't think it's a crazy idea, and I love animals, and I don't like the way factory farms treat animals, so I'm kind of sympathetic to what you're saying.
Well, we are certainly a passionate group, us vegans, but not all vegans are that skinny. In fact, the only U.S. male weightlifter who qualified for the Olympics in Rio is a vegan. And there are amazing vegan bodybuilders and athletes. Scott Jurek, a legendary ultra runner, vegan. So vegans, can be very healthy as well.
Interesting. Huh. Well, you make a compelling case. I want to get to the root question, the moral question. Do we have dominion over the animals, or are they our peers? Are they the same as people?
We have power over other animals, and I think with a lot of power comes a lot of responsibility.
I agree with that.
So we can kill them, but whether we should kill them is a bigger question.
Okay. I have to say, I started this segment thinking this guy's probably crazy, but I think you're actually reasonable and thoughtful.
So our number one vegan TV moment, drum roll, goes to another Fox News moment which happened very recently. Check this out.
Joining me right now is the CEO of Smithfield Foods, Dennis Organ. Dennis, it's great to have you this morning. Thanks very much for joining us.
And if I may add quickly, as the new CEO and president of Smithfield, I'm personally promised that we're going to do better. And the first change under my leadership is transparency and at times brutal honesty. And the truth is that our industry, in addition to the outbreaks that are happening at our plants, our industry poses a serious threat in effectively bringing on the next pandemic with CDC data showing that 3 or 4 infectious diseases come from animals, and the conditions inside of our farms can sometimes be petri dishes for new diseases. Hog farming also causes immense harm to our air and waterways.
Well, Dennis, that's what I want to ask you about.
What's really funny about this is Maria Bartiromo, the TV host, really thought she was interviewing the CEO of Smithfield Foods, which is a massive meat giant. But in fact, it was Matt Johnson from animal rights organization DXC. I mean, let's look at the comparison of the two. You have to admit they do look pretty similar, but the fact that Fox News were duped was quite startling. The sheer audacity of Matt Johnson to pull off such a stunt is what makes this moment so historical.
Well, we have an important correction to make. It appears we have been punked. Earlier in the program, I interviewed someone claiming to be the CEO of Smithfield Foods, Dennis Organ. We've since learned that was not Dennis Organ, but an imposter making false claims about the company.
Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below your favorite vegan TV moment, and I've got a surprise for you because we've actually left one very special moment off this list. It happened 2 days after our exclusive interview with the very man himself, when he gave his truly historic speech.
I think that we've become very disconnected from the natural world, and many of us, what we're guilty of is an egocentric worldview, the belief that we're the center of the universe. We go into the natural world and we plunder it for its resources. We feel entitled to artificially inseminate a cow, and when she gives birth, we steal her baby, even though her cries of anguish are unmistakable. And then we take her milk that's intended for a calf, and we put it in our coffee and our cereal. And I think we fear the idea of personal change because we think that we have to sacrifice something to give something up. But human beings at our best are so inventive and creative and ingenious. And I think that when we use love and compassion as our guiding principles, we can create, develop, and implement systems of change that are beneficial to all sentient beings and to the environment.